Welcome to our channel, where we set out to explore wonderful, great works of literature.
While dressed in elegant clothing, because
why the hell not? Well, today we're going to come up with a book that's not really well known in the Western world. I should say maybe North America. It's known in the Western world, but it is by a Danish author named, I have to recall this, Jens Peter Jacobsen. And the title of the book is called Niels Lyhne. Now, it might look like it says Niels Lyhne, but it's actually Niels Lyhne. Danish being one of those very difficult languages to learn and pronounce as well. So apparently young children have some difficulties even learning it.
Bear with us if we mispronounce every single name in the book.
That's right. And bear with us, our dog decided to chew his hoof. So you might hear some commotion in the back. So this was, in my opinion, one of the most poetically beautiful, lyrical books I have ever written. I haven't written any books, sorry. I have ever read.
Ever written?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I suppose we can start off with the actual author, who died tragically at 38 from a terminal illness.
And what type of literature is it called?
It's called Modern Breakthrough.
My first time learning about Modern Breakthrough.
Mine as well. So Modern Breakthrough was around 1860s to 1880s, was particularly a literary period, aesthetic literary period during the late 19th century, of course, but in Scandinavia specifically. And so Jens Peter Jacobsen is considered one of the authors, writers around this movement. So yes, so he was born in 1847 and he died in 1885. Not only was he a novelist, but he was also a poet, and he was also a scientist. And actually, he was the first person to translate Charles Darwin's works into Danish.
The actual author?
The author himself.
It was...
No, it was actually the author himself. Yeah, it's really neat, eh? Mm. Yeah. So it's so his sort of aesthetic was Modern Breakthrough, and this was kind of like a realist, I guess, reaction against Romanticism, which kind of predated it, right? So they were questioning a lot of the social mores at the time, women's place in society, religion versus secularism or atheism. It was very
and it's specific to Scandinavia, right?
It was, yeah. So what's interesting about this particular book, Niels Lyhne, is that it actually, the reason why I was looking for it in the first place was I'm reading a collection of essays by Thomas Mann. He's a German novelist that I'm sure many of you know of. And he cited him as one of his inspirations, childhood inspirations, or as a young man.
And Rilke, too, right?
And Rilke, the famous poet, Rilke, however you want. Rilke, a famous poet, and Rilke is actually quoted as saying that, besides Jacobsen, his other main influence was like Rodin, the sculptor. Mm-hmm. And Hermann Hesse, Rilke, you name it. Many of these sort of writers were incredibly influenced by this particular work.
Just don't wiggle the table too much because it shakes it.
Sorry. Stefan Zweig is also another author who was highly influenced by this. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So it doesn't... All right. So it doesn't really have a plot per se.
No.
Do you want to comment on that?
So it was very much like a musings of like a the lifespan of a man.
Of a young man.
A young man.
A romantic, a young...
To death.
Yeah. A premature death, I should say.
Yeah.
But he was a poet, an aspiring poet, a romantic youth.
And really gotta stop wiggling.
Sorry. And he was very much like, because he was always raised in this environment by his mother, who was very much into fantasies and fairy tales, and he kind of had that disposition as well, a very romantic disposition. Mm-hmm. And he was, it's kind of weird to say, but he was like really in love as a child, if you will, with his aunt. She was this beauty, that this kind of like ethereal woman in his life, and she died from a sickness, and he went to pray for her to help kind of save her, and of course she died anyway, and from that moment on he became...
I thought that was his aunt, not his mother.
It was his aunt, I said.
Oh, I thought it was his mother. Sorry.
Yeah. and he became like an atheist, an avowed atheist.
Mhm.
And but what this book is not polemical in any way. It doesn't seek to sort of like convince you one way or other. It's actually a reflection. It's a very introspective
Yeah.
novel.
It's almost like a battle with your own thoughts and convictions.
The poles,
Yeah.
left and right. It doesn't make any determination. It doesn't say what is right, what is wrong. And I think that's part of that modern breakthrough sort of aesthetic, where they present all of the tensions that exist in life.
Mhm.
And you know, the fact is, it's like life is what it is, and you cannot make. I'm going to put it down. You cannot make any sort of real determination as to, you know, the quality of a life. It's really more dynamic.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because it really is not a very remarkable life he lived, but he painted aspects of it quite beautifully. So it's similar to
The Brazilian one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the Brazilian one was more like humorous. This was more romantic along the way.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Romantic musings.
So the thing is, like, what's interesting about this and what made it particularly infamous or, you know, exciting for people of the time in the late 19th century was it explored this idea of actually casting off one's faith in religion. But what's interesting from a psychological perspective, he actually then transfers that onto women, and he becomes super idealized, idealizes women and puts them all on a pedestal.
And they hate it.
And so there's, and so...
Well, they love it, but they also hate it. They love it in the beginning, and then it seems like when they want to start, when they're actually seriously in their relationship.
And there's a lot of...
hey, I'm just a human.
Yeah.
How do we connect here when there's this barrier of who I actually am and who you want me to be?
Yeah, and I found it interesting because in a way, by abstracting their essence, by making them almost these angelic figures, he kind of destroys them in a way. Like, they can't bear the brunt of his expectations. And one of his friends also, who was a sculptor in the novel, he ends up completely being very much...
something similar.
No, but like, disillusioned and dissociated from his loved one, and, you know, this sort of affair arises, but it really shows the dangers of that idealization. And each woman, I think he has like 6 or 7 different women in his life, you know, who kind of warn him against that. And, you know, he kind of maintains it. Yeah. Kind of maintains that. But it's also not just him imposing his ideals onto the women, but the women try to also embrace these ideals, like his mother as well.
Yeah, or his last wife.
Or his last wife, and it destroys them. And it's
and the guilt that you bear with that as well, right? Of when someone else's illusion about you changes in their eyes, right? Yeah.
So I think it's one of those books that require multiple readings. I think you can come at this book multiple times throughout your life, and you'll extract so much wisdom from it every single time.
Yeah, you love
the prose.
I thought you didn't even bother saying it.
The prose was unbelievable. The prose was really gorgeous. It really just to illustrate, like when they capture flowers and.
Could read like a part of it.
We didn't really prepare in advance to actually have any sort of quotation, but it's really evocative imagery. It's almost written in a romantic style, but there's again that tension between the realism and the romanticism.
Yeah. I'm not going to try it.
No.
It's full of it. You could probably flip through one page and find.
Yeah. So it's a pivotal work. Honestly, sadly neglected in North America. Many people don't hear about it. I don't know about you, but like you hardly ever hear about Danish writers or Danish literature. It seems like one of those countries far off in Scandinavia, somewhere in the northernmost regions, and nobody.
But I think it's also like another reader said, well, maybe if he hadn't died so young and created other works like this, he could have been a Tolstoy. He could have been
a Proust. That was some good reads. Yeah,
some other good reads of that.
Yeah. So
anyway,
definitely, should we? We're going to rate this. You know what? I'm going to give it a 4.1. I feel, you know, I honestly feel like it's one of those ones that.
I thought you were gonna give it a 4.5.
Yeah, you know, no. I think no, you know, it's a tentative one because I feel I need to reread it several times in order to make a full determination on it. But for now, I'm going to give it 4.1.
Okay, I think I'll give it 3.9.
That's very close.
Yes.
Why 3.9?
Well, I think I realized I didn't think I needed a plot because I really did love the music.
Yeah.
But then I realized it would have just been a little bit more entertaining if there was more plot. Just a little bit more. There still was a plot, but...
But that's if you're looking for entertainment, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking for like...
Exactly. That would just make it entertaining and romantic.
Yeah. And it's like if you're looking for spiritual nourishment, this is definitely... Oh, yeah. You will find it. Your soul touches this one. And it touches your soul.
Your heartbeat.
Without getting too romantic, because that's not the point. Yes. Warning against the dangers of that as well.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like realism and romanticism twisted all together.
Had a baby.
One person.
If they had a baby.
If they had a
baby.
baby.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us on this very, I think, rather quick video.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. We have another one on the way. We're currently reading, so we will let you know
like
when that comes.
Like we have another one on the way.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
But our background probably will change.
That's right. Ooh.
That's
Spoiler alert. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.